Welcome to another episode of Huddle's Industry Insiders, where today we're thrilled to introduce Gabriela Naumnick. Gabriela is not just any product manager. She's a visionary whose career spans continents, industries, and a remarkable breadth of experiences. She's a graduate of Columbia and NYU University, a startup founder, and a digital nomad whose journey in product management is driven by a deep passion for user research. Gabriela's education background has laid a solid foundation for her to explore and excel in the tech world. Gabriela's approach to product management is rooted in a profound understanding of user needs, behaviors, and motivations. Her work is a testament to her belief in the transformative power of meticulous user research, leveraging her skills to create products that not only innovate, but also deeply connected with users across the globe. Today, we're going to dive a bit deeper into her journey to understand challenges she's faced along the way and her experience as a startup founder. And with that short intro, Gabriela, welcome to the show.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
Awesome. Let's dive right in. You've got such a diverse background and such diverse experience in media, business, and technology. Tell us a little bit about what inspired your journey to get into product management.
So this is a very, very interesting question. Actually, at some point during my studies, when I was at NYU, I realized that I was studying product management without even knowing that I was studying product management, because when I was at NYU, my major was interactive media and business. So what that translates into, those are three things: engineering, design, and business. And those are the three key things that you need to know as a product manager, because during your work, you work across those three disciplines, which is business, engineering, and design. And how did I realize that I was studying pretty much product management? Well, I was going to a lot of different networking events, trying to sort of figure out where would I fit best, what types of people work in different industries. And I came across people who were working in product. And I realized, wow, I am studying product management. And that was like a big realization. Nobody told me that. And I also realized that PMs, that this was the group of people that I just felt so good around. It was so easy to talk to these individuals and brainstorm together and come up with ideas. And even, our behaviors were similar. Product managers, I refer to them as PMs. Product managers, these individuals were the only people who would even send me a Google Meet invitation for a coffee. And this might sound funny, but I could feel so good in that group, and that's how I realized that product management was indeed what I was studying.
It's curious you say that. Like, what is the difference, you would say, in how product managers think versus how marketers or engineers are thinking? Is there a reason you connected with them that closely?
Yeah, I think product managers, we always think about the why, like why are we building this? Like, why is it needed? And how do we know this? Like, how do you know that this is valuable? And how do you know that it was valuable? How do you measure the impact? So I think we think in those types of ways, and we like to validate and understand and iterate. And I think that makes it all just so extremely, extremely fun. And we also read a lot. Product managers always have a lot of good reading recommendations. So at that point in my career, well, before I had a career, when I was meeting those different PMs, they would, recommend so many different resources to me, what to read, which book. Actually, one product manager sent me even a whole list of resources, different resources, books, blogs, websites. And, that really helped me later on during my job search.
Love it.
Yeah.
Is there, just out of that, is there a resource you use like every day that you would want to recommend to young product managers out there?
Well, actually, I think, and well, many people already know about this resource, but Lenny's newsletter is really good. I think that you might be already aware. I think that it's extremely valuable and helpful because you can read through use cases as to how different companies do product. And this can help you make decisions and sort of understand what are the common pain points, problems, how you can improve your process, what you can do better, what you can teach your team to do better. So I definitely recommend that resource.
Love it. Yeah. Let's take a little turn. Let's talk about your your side of your entrepreneurship here. You were you're one of 140 selected to join Columbia Startup Lab, where you started a company called Live Room Media, really a venture to bring musicians together. Can you tell us a little bit about how this idea happened and what was the inspiration?
Yeah, so at the beginning of the pandemic, musicians struggled. And how do I know this? I know this because my best friend, Clementina, and by the way, she's amazing. I can send a link to her Spotify. She's releasing a new album. She was, struggling a little bit with live performances, and we had conversations about it. We were both in New York City at that time, and it was rough for independent musicians. They would normally perform in different venues and they would get paid mostly by getting tips, for those performances. This became a big problem suddenly, for everybody who wanted to perform live. So we decided that, okay, maybe we can do something about it because this is such a big problem affecting so many people. Maybe there's a solution of some kind. So we called two friends of ours, also from NYU, Sarah Bruscht, a really wonderful product designer, and Konrad Krawczyk, who's just an amazing in terms of the engineering standpoint and his product mindset. And we decided to start doing some interviews, user research, to try to understand what are the common pain points. And there's this rule when you do product research, after interviewing 5 to 8 people who really match the persona, if you will, you will get 80% of insights. We interviewed around 20 musicians. And we very quickly noticed that the pain points were very, very similar. And so in that way, we could envision what to build to help out those independent musicians and bring value, like real value, and make impact. And so we decided to launch Liveroom.
I love that. And it's interesting to hear your process. Sometimes people just start companies because they're like, that's what I'm passionate about. But really taking the step of interviewing individuals, learning the pain points, and seeing that pattern to inspire how that product is going to evolve is so important. And in that vein, can you tell us some valuable lessons you picked up being an early stage startup founder? What were some of the learnings?
Yeah, I think first thing first, timing is everything. If
Mm-hmm.
you're launching something, it should be done at the right time. And I think this helped us, jumpstart this venture because we launched when it was really, really needed. So we had a really strong run at the beginning with Liveroom. User research also extremely important. I think we had a strong start and pretty good growth initially. That's because we really validated that idea,
Mm-hmm.
and we iterated on it. We were even testing with mockups with people initially, just to sort of understand if that idea would make sense or not really. And then, of course, distribution. So it's so important. So trying to reach the right people. So this is why, I mentioned trying to figure out like who is the customer, like who is the person that we're building this for. And we knew exactly what type of an independent musician with what sort of an income, like we knew exactly what type of a person to target with that. And well, experience is everything. And I think because, that we had Liveroom and eventually we decided to close Liveroom. And I think that's because we were all first time founders.
Mm-hmm.
And, we started strong. We kept the growth going like really strong initially. But this was the first time. So we had to figure everything out,
Mm-hmm.
and we didn't really have somebody who's been through all that who would answer our questions or tell us that, oh, this is happening. So this is the ramification that you can
Mm-hmm.
expect. We had to figure everything out on our own. So if I were to sort of do this all over again, I think what I would change is that I would seek one person who can be a mentor, someone who has been through all of that before and who can really sort of provide this guidance. Because back to my point about timing, right? As far as we started off really strong, really good growth. Our artists were making more than $200 per 30 minutes. Which is really good for someone who would be, gigging somewhere in New York City. But yeah, eventually, just because we had to keep on figuring everything out on our own, things would start taking time because we had to learn, and we didn't have someone who could help us learn faster because they would have that experience.
Yeah, I love that. And that's, honestly, one of the reasons why Huddle was created as well is to give people those opportunities to connect directly with mentors in their industry. Um, Out of curiosity, a lot of startup founders are so passionate about their businesses. When you have to make a decision to stop working on your baby, to say, this is it, this is where I say stop. What was that experience like for you? What made you say, this is the line that I'm drawing? Was it runway? Was it time, the team? I guess I would love to learn a little bit more about that.
Yeah, so I had to initiate that conversation because
Mm,
I had the title of the CEO, right? So this was my call to initiate that conversation, and I had to look at a couple of things. So one was our growth,
mhm,
and as the pandemic was coming to an end, our growth was very much stagnant. It was very difficult to encourage more artists to
mhm.
keep on performing live because, and also research, our research was showing that we continue doing that research, our research was showing that artists didn't really want to perform live anymore. They were tired. You heard of the Zoom fatigue and so on. It's
Yeah.
kind of like similar for artists. They wanted to go back to meet, see their fans, interact, high five them, just be able to engage with them, sing together. Um, so that was one thing that it was very clear that it wasn't that easy to encourage people anymore to come back. So timing, that's one. And number two, that ties into financial as well. Our financials weren't looking bad. We weren't in a very difficult place financially. So I figured that it would make sense to have the conversation with the team.
Mhm.
So the four co-founders, we had four co-founders, including myself. So myself, Clementina, Conrad, and Sarah. And that we should talk about it. What do we do, right? Because stagnation is not great. If you're stagnant, you're not growing, right? This is not great for a startup. So when we were still in a pretty good spot financially, we decided, okay, maybe this is the best moment to just close it while we have good relationships with all the stakeholders, while we can pay everybody, the
Mhm.
artists, while we can just finalize it in a way that will not in any way harm any sort of a relationship. And so we did that. And looking back, I think we did well in terms of closing it because we didn't negatively impact any sort of a relationship that we had with any stakeholder
Mhm.
involved in this business and in the startup. And also, up to this day, I have people reach out to me saying, "Oh, is Liveroom still around?" Or, "Well, if you do anything, I would love to be involved." Especially musicians still reach out to us saying that, "Oh, it was so amazing, and I'm so grateful for what you did for me during the pandemic. It like really helped me continue doing what I love doing." So I think it's a nice testament to the good impact that we had on our users and yeah.
Yeah. No, that's such a compliment to get that from your target audience to come back to you and say how much they appreciated the product and the service. That's amazing. Um, I would love to also learn startup founders generally, you're one person, you're wearing 30 different hats, right? You're picking up a lot of new skills. Can you
Yeah.
tell us a little bit about what were some of the transferable skills that you learned as a startup founder that you were able to take into Playbook? And just kind of like, how did that transition happen?
Yeah, so I would say number one, user research. As you might know, I'm big on user research. I think
Mhm.
that user research is very important. It's important to know how does your customer use your product? What do they struggle with? It's important to observe how they use their product. And that can be in person, but it doesn't have to be in person. There are plenty of tools out there, like User Zoom Go, for example, which you can use to see that online. so the importance of testing and interacting with users, that was a big lesson. Because this helped us in, at Liveroom, it helped us to figure out what to build. But then at Playbook, that would help me and my team figure out what do we build next, or what's not working, or how do we improve this metric, which ultimately leads to improving, the business objective and hitting those business targets, right? So that was extremely important, and I put a lot of emphasis on user research at Playbook. So that was one big takeaway. And also, this helped us understand what not to pursue. Why not? So that was extremely helpful. Another thing I would say, this sort of drive to build things that matter, and something that will positively impact your customer, while of course positively impacting the business. And that ties into user research, because if you spend time with your customer, you see what matters, what are their pain points, and you can genuinely feel those pain points because you're there, interacting with the customer and seeing them, how they use your product. So that definitely was very helpful, because if you have this drive to build something that matters, it can become infectious, and you can help make the team feel like this and empower the team to build those things. Because as a product manager, you don't have, like that direct influence over your teammates. You need to sort of inspire people and inspire through and lead through influence, like inspire people to build great things. So if you genuinely understand the users, you understand the business use case, and if you really can feel this impact and you can motivate the team, that's extremely important in the product development process. And then lastly, I would say communication is very important. It's critical, in fact, because as a product manager, you work across, all the cross-functional teams across the organization. So of course, yes, you are at that intersection of business, engineering, and design, but you also need to work with sales and with marketing and with QA and with support. And then you might need to do board demos and investor demos. So you work with all of those different individuals, and you need to communicate accordingly. You cannot, explain to an investor something in the same way you would explain to an engineer, because maybe they will not understand. On the other hand, if you try to explain something to an engineer the way you would explain it to sales, that also might not really, seem relatable or understandable. So adjusting the way you communicate and explain things, and the way you reason with people, that was also a very important takeaway. Adjust how you explain depending on who you speak to. So I would say that's sort of like the third big takeaway that I can think of.
Yeah, I love that. And we talked a little bit about inspiring and leading by example. There's a lot of aspiring product managers that are now trying to enter the tech industry. And as we know, tech industry is not struggling at the moment, right? To really find jobs that people find connection with, or products that they find inspiring. You're in this position where now you're looking at all of these young product managers that either want to join Playbook or that are asking you for advice. I guess, what are the skill sets that today's product managers need to be investing in order to be competitive in this industry now?
I think the number one thing would be, you need to keep learning. Just because you graduated doesn't mean that this is it. If you're a product manager, or if you want to be a product manager, you need to keep on learning all the time. As a PM, you learn every day, because you need to solve problems and you need to find solutions and suggest solutions and validate them and iterate on these solutions, So you need to learn all the time, and you need to keep up to date with what's happening in the industry. Now we have those, the AI, all that stuff. Like, you need to keep up with this, read about it, be knowledgeable about the companies that are popping up here and there and the technologies that are popping up here and there, and just keep on learning, keep on reading books. There are tons of great product management books out there. Right now, I am, for example, reading Build. It's a great book. I highly recommend it. Also, Discovery Habits by Teresa Torres, such a great book. Tons of good books out there. So keep on reading, keep on signing up to newsletters like Lenny's newsletter, such a great resource. And this is important because this will help you be a better product manager. And then on top of that, well, as a part of job interviews, it would be good for you to demonstrate that you are this type of a person who enjoys learning. And you need to enjoy learning to be a product manager. I don't think I have ever met a product manager who would not continue learning all the time, every day. So that willingness to learn is extremely important. And in my opinion, it's extremely fun. I genuinely like what I do. So for me, the idea of a fun Saturday is to sit with a cool product management book and read it, and I enjoy it, right? So also think about that. Do you enjoy this? Because if you don't, then maybe it's not for you. That's also possible. So that's one thing. And then in terms of sort of becoming a product manager, it's good to demonstrate that you can deliver and that you can make impact. That is also extremely important. And I know that it might be sort of difficult coming out of the university, depending also what major you pursued and what internship experience you might have. But think about this. There are many ways in which well, actually now I'm talking a little bit more about hiring because you mentioned to hiring. I can talk
Yeah.
about that later. But I would say that willingness to learn is extremely important because it ties into absolutely everything else. And then the second thing, I'll continue what I started. Just try to deliver something. Try to maybe build something. Try to build a website. Try to deliver some sort of a product. You don't have to launch a startup, but try to deliver something that solves a specific problem and can be impactful. If you try to build a website that maybe solves some sort of a pain point for a very specific type of a customer, and you can demonstrate that it was impactful, this will help you on so many different levels because you'll be able to better understand what is the process of building something actually like, and that will help you communicate better with engineers and with designers. And on top of that, that ties into the willingness to learn, right? Maybe you're doing this for the first time, but if you can do that, then that will make you an even better product manager, So I think it's very, very important.
Yeah, I love that. Thank you. That was so valuable. You touched on something that's incredibly important is the rise of AI. And recently that has been the talk of the entire tech industry. Specifically, one thing that you're working on at the moment is that Pipestream conversational AI. Can you tell us a little bit about what Pipestream it is and what is conversational AI?
Oh yeah, I'm excited to tell you about this. I will first tell you a story.
Yeah.
Have you ever been in a situation when you experience, for example, a problem, let's say with your flight? Like
Yeah.
for example, myself, quite recently, I had a problem. I wanted to rebook my flight. I wanted to change a couple things. Couldn't do it. There was nothing on the website. I had to call. I spent 2 hours of my life on a call. I really didn't have that time, 2 hours on a call, but I had to, and it was infuriating, and I could barely get done what I had to get done with rebooking this flight and changing a couple more things. And with Pipestream, you can very easily solve these types of situations because Pipestream is a conversational AI platform that provides businesses with tools and guidance to build an amazing conversational AI experience for their customers. It's a guided experience. We use all the, possible solutions out there to make it extremely easy, fast, efficient, for the customer. If that company, I will not name that company, but if that company was our customer, that 2 hours wouldn't be 2 hours. It would be 1 minute, 2 minutes maybe. It would be fast. And instead of being frustrated, I would be not just satisfied, I would be happy about this experience. I used a couple of our solutions before, and many of them, in fact, and every single time I need to do something online quickly, I am just left with this overwhelming feeling of, oh, I'm really happy about this experience. It felt great. It was fast, and I can move forward with my day. I can sort of like self-serve myself. I don't have to waste my time. I don't have to spend 2 hours at a call. you know? So on top of providing that wonderful, sleek experience, it's a really guided, nice experience for the customer. Pipestream also provides the business with great tools that help them understand how to continually improve that experience for their end user, you know, and that ultimately helps reduce the burden on call centers, and that helps reduce costs. So in my opinion, this is, well, it's a fact. It's such an impactful thing to work on. And if more companies out there had the Pipestream solutions, then I think our online experiences would be so great, so easy,
Mhm.
so fast, so efficient, you know?
Absolutely, yeah. I love the fact that you guys are taking on this issue with such innovation, utilizing the tech that's available today. But I'm curious on your thoughts on AI. There's a lot of talk where it needs to be done properly, right? It needs to be done
Yes.
ethically. Tell us a little bit more about how you think AI is going to positively or negatively affect the lives of users, especially not only in 2024, but as we integrate more technologies with AI.
Well, I think it's important to make sure that the way AI is used in specific products, to make sure that it's used well, and that look into all the aspects about, like, data and GDPR, and setting some boundaries around it. You may have seen those funny examples online of those, like, mere chatbots where someone
Mhm.
just integrated this with ChatGPT, and you can ask the chatbot to recite a poem, or do stuff like that. At Pipestream, we don't, like, at Pipestream, it's a good experience. You will not have those types of situations with
Yeah.
Pipestream, right? So I think it's important to use it in right use cases, and just make sure um, to test it well, also to not allow for such situations. But I think it can be extremely impactful, and it can help us in the context of these types of products. It can really help us solve whatever we need to solve quickly, efficiently,
Mhm.
and just get things done faster in a way that makes us happy and satisfied, and I think that's extremely important.
Yeah, I love that. I would love, as we kind of come to a close, would love your thoughts, advice, tips for aspiring product managers. If you had to give them some advice as they're getting into this industry, any last words of wisdom, what would they be?
A last words of wisdom, apart from to continue learning,
Hmm.
would be to just be curious. And by be curious, I mean, apart from learning, just reach out to other PMs, ask them, what do you do as a part of your job? Different product managers work on very different types of products. So not every product might be a product that you want to work on. Maybe you prefer B2C instead of B2B, or vice versa. So it's important to do your research ahead of time. And I think when I was looking into product roles, I would just message people on LinkedIn. Many of them responded. I grabbed coffee with many of them. I'm friends with many of them up to this day. So don't dismiss it. Don't think that just because someone has many years of experience that they will ignore you. It's not true. I think that product managers really enjoy, mentoring people, coaching people. Product managers are interested in understanding people, and I think in general PMs are very, very kind, positive, open individuals. So don't hesitate and reach out. If you're curious about someone's role, just reach out to them. It never hurts to do that.
Absolutely. And that's the power of networking, right? At the end of
Yeah,
the day.
exactly.
All right. And that is our episode with Gabriela, whose journey throughout the realms of product management, startup culture, and digital nomadism offers a treasure trove of insights and inspiration. Gabriela, your passion is a reminder of the impact that thoughtful product management can have on the success or failure of a product. To our listeners, we hope today's conversation has sparked your curiosity and perhaps even ignited a passion for exploring the vast possibilities within product management. For more insights, stories, and advice, from industry insiders, make sure to follow Huddle's Industry Insiders on your favorite podcast platform. If you want to meet product managers like Gabriela for one-on-one advice, resume reviews, or even just to network, check out the Huddle app. You can click the link in our bio for early access. Thanks for joining us today, and as always, keep learning, keep growing, and keep connecting. Until next time, this is Kunal Kumar, signing off.